right, Flynn.
Hello, Nico.
How are you?
Good. Thank you. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
Yes. This has been a bit of a task getting this done.
Yeah. Well, me being an artist, and I don't really have much of a schedule, so
Well, before we get into it, let's go. What are your social media handles so that people can find you?
they can find me on Instagram at Flynn Paints, and then that's pretty much it. I just use Instagram, and I've got a website and things, but yeah, Flynn Paints at Wix or something like that. But I don't really use that. Sort of building on a new website at the moment.
All right. And look just behind me here. If you can't see, if you're not watching on YouTube, that's one of your pictures of Willie Nelson.
Yeah, it's one of my paintings of Willie Nelson, and
Paintings.
I worked on a whole series dedicated to him last winter, and so I painted him and all the Outlaw musicians that he's performed with, and the reason I painted a little black and white was because when you live life as an outlaw, life is very black and white. You're either in jail, you're free, you're rich, or you're broke. You're dead or you're alive. And that's why I painted in black and white. And I normally paint in a lot of color, like the painting I have behind me, or the one you can see there, the Queen. And so it was a nice challenge to just use black and white. And I look forward to having my exhibition. Yeah.
What do you mean? What exhibition?
Well, I'm looking for a space now at the moment to exhibit the 10 pieces that I have. And then you have big pieces. There's Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, there's Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings. Waylon Jennings just released his a new album. So Waylon's passed away, but his son found like all this archive of his old music and things. And so he's put together 3 new albums, and that just came out I think last Friday, the 6th. And so I painted Waylon Jennings, there's Emily Lou Harris, Chris Christopherson, I think it said Johnny Cash, Ray Charles, and and they've all lived like lives of outlaws outside the box, and they were still able to shine.
You ever seen any of these guys in concert?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't.
I had tickets for Chris Christopherson once.
Yeah,
and he was doing a solo tour, and I bought because they came online, and it was in Aberdeen, in Scotland of all places, and it was just him and a guitar and a seat on the stage. And so I thought, this is because I'm a big like country music, and I like outlaw country. Is probably one of my favorite things to listen to.
Country, yeah.
But outlaw country with these guys, the ones you just mentioned, and so I bought this ticket, and I was working for an oil company at the time, and I got called offshore, and I had to go away.
Oh no!
And so I said to the office manager, I said, I've got these 2 tickets. Do you know anybody that wants them? And she said, my son, he loves music. And I said, yeah, okay. So I handed over the tickets, and she's thinking, he knew country. And I said, what kind of music does he like? And he said, well, techno. I said, what do you mean?
Yeah. Well.
I said, well, this is not at all what he's going to be expecting.
Yeah. Well, he'll probably be stoned on Sunday morning after a heavy session of techno. But
well, exactly. So no, I think it was a Wednesday night or a Thursday night or something. But so I was away. I got sent off to Trinidad for a month. Yeah, that's another story.
How is the country scene in Scotland? Because I see it's picked up quite a bit in England with the popularity of what's his name? It's terribly moves.
Just remember, just keep the mic close to your. Yeah, you can move it around, make it comfy. Doesn't matter. I'll come to you. Listen, in Scotland, Scottish country music is a big thing.
Yeah.
Country and Western is a big thing. I mean, it's niche, but it's popular. Surprisingly, in fact, one of my best friends, my oldest friend, his dad had a country and Western record label.
Wow.
And he was the chemist. He was the pharmacist in our little town we lived in.
Okay.
So it's always been around. Don't really get so much of it nowadays. Elvis was very popular. But like, for instance, Chris Christopherson, most people knew him, like he was big in the 70s, for instance. And then he became a movie star as well.
Yeah.
I mean, he was in the first, what's the Lady Gaga movie? Star is Born. He did that with Barbara Streisand, the original.
Blade Runner too, and he with
he was in Blade, with Wesley Snipes.
Wesley Snipes,
But I like amongst the youth, I don't really think I only really started listening to it probably listening to it in my early 30s.
Yeah.
But so this guy went to that concert, and I came back and I said, "Oh, did your son enjoy the concert?" And he said it was unbelievable, mind blowing. I didn't know a single song. A few of them you kind of would know because they're popular.
Yeah.
So he wrote for Elvis. He wrote for lots of different.
Yeah.
He was a big writer.
He's a very talented individual. He went off to be a sergeant at the army when he
was a captain in the army, helicopter pilot.
And that's how he got one of his songs out, because he actually flew a helicopter into Johnny Cash's backyard. Johnny Cash was like, "What the hell?" And then he's like, "Yeah, you gotta listen to my my songs." And he's like, "Okay, yeah." And then that's when they ended up partnered up, and he wrote the first song for one of the first songs that he wrote for Johnny Cash.
What song? Do you remember the song?
I'm so terrible with names.
He was also a Rhodes Scholar. Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
Rhodes Scholar is it's a scholarship given to promising American students to go and study at Oxford under a full scholarship from Cecil Rhodes.
Wow.
The founder of Rhodesia, which is now Zimbabwe. It's a colorful character. That's another podcast on its own. To say the least, a colorful character.
Yeah.
And then he went there. Bill Clinton did it.
Okay.
He was a Rhodes Scholar. Many famous people were Rhodes Scholars.
Yeah, and I know that he dropped out of everything, even though he had all this potential, and then his family almost disowned him and everything, but then he
became good.
He kept his his goal of becoming a musician, and and I guess he must have stepped outside the box a few times too, as you do in the music industry. And he took, that's why I love that song "Stone on Sunday Morning," and he likes to refer to marijuana and things like that. So that's why I added him to the Outlaw collection with Willie Nelson and the rest, and also because he's part of the Highwaymen, with Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings, Chris Christopherson, and so I started this here in Switzerland like last winter.
You forgot Willie. Willie's in it as well.
So Willie Nelson, and little did I know, they actually formed here in Switzerland. So Johnny Cash was out here recording a Christmas song or something up in the Swiss Alps, and then he invited all the boys over. So I invited Willie, Waylon, and Chris Christopherson, and they started jamming together, and then when they got back to America, they said, "Hey, let's make a band," and that's the Highwaymen was formed. Yeah, and I was here painting them, and then I found that story out, and I was like, "Oh, wow, that's pretty crazy." So.
But did you find out where they are? Where they did the recording?
Or where they met up? They romantically say are up in the Swiss mountains, but there's one of the best recording studios over in Montreux, which is famously used. So they're probably up there. Then they probably had a chalet up above the hills, so they weren't in the main town. Yeah.
Well, another famous country artist. She lives just above Shania Twain. She lives just above Montreux.
Okay, yeah.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
I think I've seen her one day. By the way, for those listening, I know Flynn's a friend from who lives in Verbier, where we live. We both live, and we've got a hell of a day. Beautiful, sunny. We're looking at it. You've got a hell of a view from your place here. We're in his studio. You might have gathered. We're in his painting studio. We're looking out over Chamonix. Blue skies, gorgeous. Anyway.
One side France, one side Italy.
Yeah.
Oh.
And we're in the middle of Switzerland. So, so we know each other from here. I didn't even know you were an artist until probably at least a year ago.
Yeah, very few do. I'm social. I'm a social character, so I'm always out. And I don't know. I think for me, it's like, it's obvious. But then a lot of people wonder in town, like, what does this hippie guy do? And Yeah, I've been here since for on and off Verbier since 2018.
Right.
Yeah, I think we've hung out a few times. Yeah,
Yeah, more than
yeah.
that.
And yeah, thank you again for having me on your podcast.
No,
I'm
it's my
looking
pleasure.
forward to this. I'm fucking with Mr. Kindness.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Because you know what, the story, because I didn't know you at the time, so this is probably a good few years ago. It was a mutual friend's birthday. I wasn't there in Ibiza, however you say it. How do you say it?
Ibiza.
Yeah, I say Ibiza as well, right?
And
That's what they say. That's what they call it.
V2, so sometimes it's Ibiza or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ibiza.
And I hadn't been invited to this party, which is fine. Too old for that sort of stuff. But because I didn't know you then, but because my friend, our mutual friend David, said, "Oh, told me this story. If you want to go into it, that is."
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And he said to me, "Do you know Flynn?" I said, "No, I don't." He goes, "Yeah, you do. He's kind of got the beard and a long sort of strawberry blonde hair. He's always out." Yeah, and I went, "All right, African sunset." Excuse me.
There's all the different kind words for ginger people. Yeah.
Canadian maple. And so he said he started telling me the story about, because he said he was on you were in something DC-10 or Pasha or something.
So I'd gone to Ibiza. I just went there by myself, and I rented this convertible and everything. And I was just driving around, and then I called up one of my friends, and it was a Monday night or Sunday. I don't know when it is. It was a good time to go to DC-10 because I was like, I'm gonna go on a Monday, you know. And he's like, DC-10, you gotta go DC-10. So I'm like, all right, I'll go check it out. And I thought it was like a small little nightclub thing for on a Monday, you know, like. And then I get there, and it's this huge parking. I'm like, okay, boom. And I knew someone that, you know, that manages it, so I know people in the clubs and stuff. So they skip me right in. And then I'm there. I'm sort of the next thing you know, I see David, and I see Antoine. And I'm like, guys, what are you guys doing here? And then, what are you doing here? Yeah. And then that was, that's when I started talking to David. And it was when my father first started talking with my dad. Yeah.
And so you'd never spoken to your dad before that point?
No, not really. I mean, he'd written to me when I was in Amsterdam, so that was in like 2012 or 13, yeah. And it was an email, and it was just weird. It was like, hi, I work in coffee. You know, your mom told me that you're in Amsterdam. It's a shame we didn't see each other because I was in New Zealand when you just left. And then I was like, well, it's kind of weird you're writing me now. I was in New Zealand for like 2.5 years. You know, maybe it's my mom was keeping something, I don't know. But he had got in touch with me then, and I was like, dude, why are you talking to me about coffee for? Like, so then I sort of put it aside, you know, and then forgot about it, and then changed email and all that. And then, sure enough, he found me on Facebook again through my art. So he was like, yeah, and he's like, I always knew you're gonna be an artist, sort of thing, and then it was a big eye-opening thing, because I had all these questions about the decisions that I've made in my life and the roads that I've chosen. And I always sort of, why do I do that to myself? Or why do I even, like my mom and all that, And then it just made sense when he explained to me what he did and what he was involved in, and et cetera. And then it was like, okay, yeah, it's like a family, yeah.
So on that, you better sort of explain your background, as in where you're from, what nationalities you have, etc. So it gives a bit more color of the story.
So I'm born in France, and both my parents are from New Zealand. I've lived in like 7 countries, and I left home at the age of like 15, and because my mom was with another guy, and then my stepfather, and then they split up, and I didn't want to be in between, so I just fucked off and got, excuse my language, and then got
say what you want.
I was just working as a gardener that was during the summer holidays. So I was staying at my friend's house, and then
In France.
in France.
But you went to France on your own when you were 15?
No, I was already living there.
Oh, you're living in France, right?
So I'm born and raised in France. Yeah, well, my parents are from New Zealand, and then it was then my friend's parents were like, "Hey, Flynn, you can't. School's going to start in September. You can't still be living with us," which is completely normal. And I used to help out in the garden with them. We stayed at a big property and things. So then I ended up, my boss gave me a place to stay. So I ended up staying at his, and I'd work on Wednesdays and Saturdays in between school to pay for rent and gardening and things. And but it was, I'd always grew weed, and weed just supported me in a lot of ways. It was with my ADHD, concentration, all these things, and then I grew a great, I'd say, appreciation and like I was just amazed by this plant and how because I'd never really grown anything, and then it would just grow so quick, and so I started doing that, and then I graduated from school in South France. I went and studied for 5 years in Milan to do industrial design. Became a designer. I made design speakers for JBL, and done like garbage cans for recycling, and then did a shelving system for Cappellini, which is one of the most high-end furniture companies in Italy. And then I got heartbroken. So one of these girls, Venezuelan girls, Latinas, I love them, but
was that a thick Latina?
she tore my heart out, man, because I was supposed to go visit her family in Christmas, and then and then completely canceled on me, and from one moment to another didn't want to see me on the Skype anymore and things like that. And I was like, all right, well, I'm not really fit for this staying in the studio in front of a computer thing with these Italian people, and it was just really not my kind of people. They're very, I don't have a word for it. So then I went to New Zealand. I went back to New Zealand, lived there for 3 years, and was doing concreting and surfing and everything. And during that whole time, I was always painting. So I was always painting for friends, doing graffiti. Doing a lot of graffiti in Milan, and painting chickens everywhere. And then that's when I went to New Zealand, and I started sort of refining it and making more. Sorry.
No, I was just looking. There's some chickens in that big picture behind you, right? Oh yeah,
making things. There's a tiger or something that I paint quite often. And that's when I really started like, hey, I want to be an artist. Like, I feel I really like doing this. But I was always sort of directed away from it because art is just painting, and parents always think, no, you got to do something a little more with a bit more substance, etc., etc. So I was to like go. My grandma was the one who paid for my education, and she's like, go do industrial design, because that way you can learn how to use computers, you can learn to have lots of different tools, and then later you can do what you like, But design is very different to art, and how you present it, and then that's sort of what I've been learning at the moment. And then so from there, like I said, I've always been doing art, always had my plants, and I knew a lot about these plants. And then so we did sort of a few things down under, and then again, Mom was like, Flynn, you can't be doing this because they'll keep you here. Huh? They won't let you leave the island. So you, as a European, and all this, then you should go somewhere where they let you do this.
Oh, what the growing the weed, right?
Plants and stuff. So that's when I got a job I got asked to design a sound studio in Amsterdam. So I was like, all right, yeah, let's go. So I went up there, and then this guy ended up being just basically full of air, and there was no finances or anything like that. And so I ended up going around Amsterdam, giving my CVs, and I gave them to all the design studios and had no feedback. So I was like, you know what, I'll go give it to the coffee shops. And funny enough, I had Greenhouse Coffee Shop who hit me up saying, yeah, come in for an interview. And these are the guys who I looked up to when I was in Italy growing. So when I was in France, I was using like, let's say, homegrown seeds and homegrown fertilizers and everything. And I was using organics, and I was getting really good weed. And then when I got to Milan, I started watching things on YouTube and doing things indoor, and then buying all these fertilizers that everybody talked about, and then these seeds that from Greenhouse Coffee Shop, where there was Franco and Aryan, who were these guys talking about the seeds, about the white rhino and the white widow and all these things. And I was like, wow, yeah, I got the whole package. It's going to make some fire. And the weed ended up being swag. And I was like, what?
Bad.
Yeah, bad. I was like, what did I do wrong? You know? And then sure enough, that's when I learned that the whole cannabis industry is also hot air too. It's like they promote stuff like boom, 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 like this is the best, and then you end up, and it's not. It's just people don't really know any better, or they can just be sold anything. So these seeds ended up being just not very top quality seeds and things. And that's when I picked up on them and that business. And so then when they called me in saying, hey, come in for an interview, I was like, oh wow, yeah, cool. So I went in, and then they hired me straight away. They saw my CV, they saw my art. I done a painting of Snoop Dogg and Wiz Khalifa and all these, these cannabis celebrities. And so I started the job, and that's when I started to meet Aryan and Simon and Franco. Franco's left us, unfortunately, bless him. He passed away of malaria in Africa. He was a really cool guy. You should check it out. It's on YouTube, The Strain Hunters. And so all these legends.
Wait, hang on. What, he passed away of malaria in Africa looking for a different strain of weed?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, they went to pretty extremes to find all kinds of things, and then they had some confrontation with some not so nice people in Colombia too. And then
cartel people.
Yeah. Because you can't be going around walking around their fields of weed. But yeah, so it's amazing at the risk of what people take to go for the freedom of this planet. And, I respect that a lot, and that's why I respect even though we bang heads with Aryan, he's helped boost the whole industry. Simon is a legend too. He's now in Africa. He's helping a lot of Africans over there with the cannabis culture and stuff. And then Franco, unfortunately, has left. So then I started working at the Greenhouse Coffee Shop, and then I had all these huge marijuana people around me, as well as other coffee shop owners and other people who are starting to build their brands in America, because it wasn't quite yet legal in America and California and things. And then so all these Americans were coming over, and they were meeting me and things, and that's where my art exploded, because I never really even had a smartphone before. And then when I left New Zealand, I bought one. So when I got to Amsterdam, I had this roommate, and she was like, "Do you have Instagram?" I'm like, "Insta what?" And she's like, "You're an artist, right? You've got all these photos. You don't have an Instagram?" I'm like, "No, I'm not really familiar with this social media stuff." I've got a Facebook. I'm trying to do a Facebook page, but I don't even understand how that works either. And and then she's like, "Okay, well, let's make you an Instagram." I'm like, "All right, cool. So what should we call it?" I'm like, "I don't know, Flynn." She's like, "Paints?" I'm like, "Yeah, paint. All right, Flynn Paints." so then I ended up being at work at the Greenhouse Coffee Shop, and I meet Andrew. This guy is a legend. He's like, he's super cool. I wish you should see him more often, but he's now in Spain. He's got his kids and things. But he was Weedstagram 420. So he had over 750,000 followers at the time. And this is the beginning of Instagram, before it got bought by Meta, Facebook, and all that people. and it was very communal. It was very Instagram. You know, you wouldn't have all these weird feeds that give you things that you follow, and it was instant. So when someone posted, it didn't matter if you were more relevant or not. That if someone was looking at the phone at that time and you posted, they would see it.
Mhm.
And so he had 750,000 followers, and I didn't know. And so I meet Andrew. I'm like, hey, mate, how you doing? He's like, oh, I'm Andrew. And he's like, what do you do? I said, oh, I paint, you know. And he's like, oh, show me. Cool. And then he's like, dude, this is absolute fire. And I'm like, oh, thanks, Andrew. That's really nice. Like, is that Snoop Dogg? I'm like, yeah, it's Snoop. He's like, that's Wiz Khalifa. This is absolute fire, man. And I'm like, oh, thank you, Andrew. That's cool. That's cool. I didn't think much of it. So I put my phone down. And then we're working with bud tending. So we're weighing up grams. And then next thing you know, my phone just starts going ding, 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 bing, bing, like bzz, bzz, I have to put it on silent. And I started seeing all this Instagram things coming through my phone. So if I look at my phone, I'm like, I look at it, dude, I think I got hacked by Instagram or something. You know, I was like, Instagram's hacked my phone. It's gone crazy. And then he's like, what do you mean? And I said, I don't know. What's all this Instagram stuff? I've never had it. You know, he's like, no, I just reposted you. And I was like, what's reposted? And then he fell on the floor laughing again. And he's like, I'm on Instagram 420. I just reposted the Snoop Dogg painting and Snoop just liked it. And I'm like, what? Yeah. And I'm like, what? And I went from having 50 followers to like 5,000 followers in a day. And then, 200 DMs saying, oh, how much you painting? Blah, 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 blah. And then next thing you know, he posted the Wiz Khalifa painting. Wiz Khalifa ended up liking it. And then, and then I started having all these commissions. And then I'd get the heads up because we're Greenhouse Coffee Shop. So it was like, I don't know if you've been there, but there's it's a famous coffee shop. We got carpet in the floor, and there's like pictures of all the celebrities that have been. So every time there was a celebrity that would come, or there would be a concert in Amsterdam, I'd get a heads up, and then I'd make them a quick painting before they come. And then that's when they ended up reposting me, and then that's how my art sort of took off. And then from there, so that's the other funny things. I always grew a little bit of weed, and that's why I recognized that I had a green hand, because Franco, who has his own coffee shop, would come and ask me for weed because he loved cheese, and I had this perfect cheese, this genetic, really good cheese. He's like, hey, this is Italian. You have the cheese for you? I want some cheese. And then
and that's not the dairy product. We're talking about the marijuana product cheese, right?
That's the marijuana. Yeah. And then so from there, like, I started getting all these commissions from these cannabis associations in Spain. And that's where, it started opening doors in Spain, Barcelona, Madrid. And so I had all these commissions from these clubs. And there was this one club in Madrid that asked me to make a few paintings, and also a painting whilst I was there. And I stayed there for 2 weeks. And it was super cool. But again, even their weed, I was just like, they were like, yeah, we're the best. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. So I was like, I don't think it's that. And they're like, oh, and I was like, well, show me your grow rooms. And they were like, yeah, okay, well, we don't normally do this. Blah, blah, blah. But sure enough, they were like, okay, yeah, come have a look. So I went in there, and I saw it was complete. It wasn't like dirty. It was just a mess. Like, it was just like plants were just all over like that. And they just like, yeah, I'm just about going in flower. And I'm like, with all these twigs and bits and pieces. And I was like, you trust me? And they were like, yeah, sure. I was like, okay, just leave me here for 2-3 hours. And they're like, what? And they're like, yeah, then you have to. And they're like, okay, we'll come back after. I was like, I trimmed out the whole thing. So I cut down all the plants, all the leaves away, blah, blah, blah. So there's better circulation, better light penetration, and everything. And they're in the first week of flowering, but it looked like a complete jungle in there. So that you can't do that, because then the plants transpire too much. All their focus on the fruits is in different areas and little areas and things. So you got to really, keep it from the top where you've got all the electricity. You get your good airflow, so you don't have that humidity, that stagnant humidity, which could create mildew, or the plants just don't drink the food that you give them. And so I chopped it all down. And when the guys came back, they're like, what the hell? Freaking out. And I was just like, no, chill, don't worry. And they're like, what the hell? You've cut all, got rid of all the weed. What's going to be? And I was like, nah, don't worry. Oh, they'll pop back up, and then you get bigger buds and some more concentrated areas. So then, after that, I left, went back to Amsterdam, painting. And I get called 2 months later and they say, then do you want to come grow for us?
Spain.
Yes. So I was fed up with the shit weather in Amsterdam, and it was just cold and mud. And that's the other thing about Amsterdam is like you don't see far. You know, it's that's why I love living here, Nico. It's like it's really important to have a horizon and be able to see far. And when you live in a city like Amsterdam, which is under the water, and you always wall against wall, right? It was such a relief to when I went to Spain and you got those beautiful sunsets and that open sort of land, Madrid. Madrid, I think, is one of the highest cities in Europe.
Yeah, I think so. It's on the plane, right? Here, while I'm speaking. If you can see that. There we go. Look, that's the view from Flynn's studio. It's unbelievable. Anyway.
Yeah, I love the light that comes into this room. It's great.
I've never actually been to Madrid.
No? It's an interesting city. You got some very good food, good restaurants and things.
And now good weed, huh?
Well, yes and no. I mean, to be honest, the Spanish are more known for their hash. So they make really good hash. But their weed, I don't know. It's hard to come by some good flour in Spain. And they also use a lot of mineral because they want to. It's not easy to grow over there. It's very cowboy and Indian. It's not legal. So you can have an association with a certain amount of members, but you can't be producing. It's kind of the same in Amsterdam. So in Amsterdam, we were working in the store. We could only hold 500 grams at a time. If we had more than 500 grams, and the cops would come, the place would get shut down. So then you think about you've got at least maybe 200 to 500 people coming in buying anywhere from half a gram to 5 grams, which is the maximum they could buy. So you'd have certain things that would start to run out, some things wouldn't sell. So we were all there on these basically these encrypted blackberries. And then we'd pass on. We'd have to do orders. So we'd have to order, and this guy would come on his bike with like 3 or 4 Tupperware, and then boom. And then if we then suddenly realized we had too much, someone had to stand outside with a pot and just wait until we sold some more. Because it's a black and white cowboy and Indian game. And then so when I was in Spain, I kept the painting going, and so I went over there. And then these guys were basically helping us. Yeah, we'll get you a house. We can do and then the whole deal fell apart. So again, I go back on my feet, got my own house, and I started growing. And yeah, I had some very interesting genetics and then my clients were international, and that's why I knew a lot of people in Barcelona because I was selling all my paintings. So that's why when I had stuff, I just went out to Barcelona, and that's where I would do business. And then I'd come back in Madrid and sort of hide out and yeah, that I kind of regret because my art was picking up, and I could have, I got invited to go to LA and I got invited to go to America, but it's like I never had that self-belief because of, I was always told like, oh, art, can't really go very far with art, or it's very hard to, so I kind of put it aside and then focused on the herb. And that's what, that started developing, and that's what brought me to Switzerland, where I basically do cannabis consultation for CBD companies. So, and CBD is legal here. Now we're actually starting to get THC licenses in since 2023. But some licenses have taken 1.5 years, 2 years to obtain, even though they've asked for. So now in 2025, people are starting to get their THC narcotic licenses. So it's interesting, and how Germany's opened up too. They've legalized, and I hope everywhere legalizes and we can really enjoy it. And
I don't even know what the status is here. I spoke to a policeman friend of mine here, and I said, "Is weed legal here?" And he said, "No,
it's not."
But no one. For instance, he said, "If I found you with weed, I'd take it off you, and bye, away you go. And or if I found you growing, I'd snip them, and bye bye, and that's enough."
Yeah.
they don't make a deal out of it. So I guess it's not criminal.
No.
I don't know. I don't have no idea.
It's like
I
Arnold Schwarzenegger said, it just grows like that, you know. Yeah,
exactly.
You know.
I did it down in the valley there, where I live. I got a friend of mine in Geneva, who's he creates scents for perfume companies, but he's an amateur botanist. That's his passion, is botany, i.e., creating weed strains.
Yeah, that's what I do. So I said,
I'd shout him out, but I'm not sure if he wants his name out here. But so I said, oh, he says, you live in the mountains, you should grow some up there. So he gave me a couple of sprouts, whatever you call them, seedlings, little things. And I don't know what to do. I stuck them in the river next to some nettles. Someone said if there's nettles there, it grows well near nettles.
Yeah.
Okay, so I planted it in the ground and pretty much forgot about it. And then came back and it was massive. And the smell, I thought, what am I going to do?
It's fascinating when how fast that thing can grow and it's in good condition.
It was taller than me, and I'm 6 foot, like 184.
That's it. When to everybody who, you know, if you see nettles, it means there's good soil. It's got a wide range of micro elements, macro elements, everything. That's why it grows. Yeah,
that's amazing. So you got into the weed game, and you said there was a connection with your dad who you didn't know. What was his gig?
Yeah, well, I can't really just kind of talk about that too much, but he was in the same sort of games, and you know, he took the same kind of risks, and that's why, you know, he got deported from France and had to, you know, do certain things, but then he's also, like, you know, and then as he matured later in life, he became a lawyer, and then helped this tribe out in, can't remember where, North Malaysia or something, where ESO was trying to basically get drilling, but they couldn't get there unless there was a road built. So the government were allowing this road to be built through, you know, this indigenous land, and because the drilling was pretty much already right, but there was no road, so the government was breaking laws to build this road, and that's where my dad sort of caught up with them, and you know, basically didn't allow us to. And he had to pretty much disappear because, you know, people wanted to make him disappear. Well, that's a lot. You're talking billions, right? Well, he saves these indigenous tribes and villages, you know, protected areas from being completely exploited by ESO. Yeah, you have to wonder about these things, don't you? Oh, yeah. In general, what we're doing about this relentless pursuit. Oh, the corruption in these things is just it's unbelievable. I mean, well, you said you're in the oil game, right? So yeah. Right. Well, actually, my family, like all my brothers, my uncles, parents, and stuff, were in the oil game, and they were, my mum and stepdad were living in Baku, in Azerbaijan. And I was there in 2005, so that's 20 years ago. Yeah, that's a blink of an eye. And there was one family, so this Aliyev, I think his name was, who was one of Stalin's buddies back in, you know, the Soviet days, you know, post World War II, and he was a staunch ally. So when they had these regions, you know, the Soviet Union was different countries, but all part of what we called Russia, but it was actually the Soviet Union, was massive. And Azerbaijan was one of them. And that presidency got handed down nepotistically, you know, from father to son, effectively. Yeah. And I came into Geneva airport one day on like EasyJet or whatever it was, and it was what you used to call a jumbo jet, whatever they're called now, but this, you know, the massive ones. And it just had, it was the Azerbaijani first family. They had their own 747. Yeah. And they put a pipeline, BP put a pipeline from the Caspian Sea. So Azerbaijan is right above Iran. In fact, there's a lot of ethnic, they're called Azeris, who are in Azerbaijan and in Iran, North Iran, like Tehran area. Yeah. Bit of a history lesson here, folks. And history of geography. So from the Caspian Sea, they built a pipeline
through up towards Tbilisi in Georgia, so in the Caucasus Mountains, Caucasus Mountains, whatever it is. They're really high. Like there's 5,000 meter plus peaks in Georgia, the state of Georgia, as in not in America, the country of Georgia, and from there down through Turkey into the Mediterranean. Now, how many palms do you think you have to grease? Because that's a huge pipeline. It's really long, and it has to go really high up
and then back down again
into the mountains, and then back down into the Med.
Surprised it's tunnel through.
It's way cheaper just to build a pipeline.
Over.
Yeah, but I mean, what are you talking about? They're getting the licenses to drill, the licenses to build a pipeline, the licenses to pump it. You're talking astronomical sums.
Yeah. No, they're sipping. Yeah.
Do you know? Here's an interesting fact.
The tables everywhere.
An interesting fact about Baku is that the Nobel family, as in the Nobel, as in Nobel Prize, they were one of the early developers there. They made their money in oil. Same with Lundin, another Swedish company, a bunch of them, because it was basically coming out of the ground. Yeah. And there's places there right now where there's fire still coming out of the ground. Huge holes with just gas, and they've been burning for
years,
thousands of years.
Yeah,
it's that close to the surface, it just bubbles out.
That's crazy,
isn't it? Crazy. Anyway,
but that's what it's a you think about the wars that are going on. Like I was trying to help with this deal now, and as I've slowly learned about it, but they're like saying banning Russian oil, but then they're relabeling it, and then the guys in Holland have to be taking it, and it's just ridiculous.
I know.
Sanctions that have like in Venezuela and all this stuff, and money that's disappeared from the people, and the same with Africa. It's just like, when does it end? Like, what more do you need? Just why can't we all just, be happy?
Exactly. Well, this is why we do the podcast. Yeah, we're raising the consciousness of the planet here because
be kind, everyone. Like Nico, Mr. Kind.
Yeah. Well, I used to work in the oil industry.
Yeah.
But you never really think about those things at the time. But when there's that much money at stake, huge.
Each other.
And it's like Nigeria, Angola, anywhere where you got oil, there's a huge amount of corruption is going to follow.
Yeah.
And anyway, back to the art.
Yeah.
I love that. That picture behind me is just a cracker. When we finish this, I'll tell you what we'll do. Did I say picture? Again, you already corrected me once, and I said it again.
Everyone always like, this is nice pictures. I'm like, shit, if it was made from a fucking photograph.
Yeah, it's a painting.
The idea is to that's what I've sort of played with this collection here. The one that's behind you is. I've had a few people walking. Wow, is that a photo? And I know it's a painting, and it's sort of. The sides are very abstract and very unfinished, I should say. Or I find it finished, but some people might use that word. But then the center is kind of very zoomed, so you get that sort of depth and for people.
Yeah, it's in focus.
Yeah,
the face is in focus, and the rest of it
focused on the eyes in that area.
Yeah,
and then it sort of brings the whole thing together, and it's like the. What is it everyone uses on their phones now?
Filters.
Not the filters, the portrait mode.
Oh yeah, well exactly.
I've sort of portrait moded my paintings,
And in the old days, they used to put like on your parents or probably your parents or maybe even grandparents now. But when I was young, the photographers would put Vaseline around the edge of the lens.
Okay.
To give it that kind of
blurry.
Yeah,
exactly. That's the idea.
That's what they used to do for portraits. I'm showing my age here, but that's what they used to do. So for this one, when you get that right, I'm always fascinated by when I see artists. I was at 2-3 weeks ago. I was in London for a 40th birthday party, friends of ours, and my wife and I, and the venue was the National Gallery on Trafalgar Square.
Wow.
You ever been there? You might.
I have, yeah.
Yeah. So we're in this room, and you've got Caravaggio, you've got Turner's, I can't actually remember the recipe, but there was all these masters, absolute masters, and then they had this huge. In fact, I think Turner donated all of his whole collection to the National Gallery. So you're in, and it's a party, right? It's a sit-down dinner, but you're surrounded by this artwork, and you're speaking to people, and it's people you don't know. So it's, I'm trying to drop a few truth bombs in there, spice the conversation up a little bit. But at the same time, I'm just looking around going, I've got to spend some time with these. So going in between the courses and just walking around all this artwork. And the Turner, I've always been a fan of.
Yeah.
Is it Joseph? I think, yeah, it is. And because the way he played with the light, it made, it was actually almost better than what you get from nature. That's how good it was that he would do it. Yeah. And so that's the thing that I like is, where does that come from? That's what I'm curious of.
Like the depth or the
no, the inspiration. Where are you getting it from? Are you channeling?
The frame behind me is more of a channeling. That's just me, like, because after I've been painting photos all winter, that black and white, I was just like, all right, fuck it, I want to just sort of paint what's in my mind at the moment. It's sort of full of conspiracies and society things, and it's man and woman. We can explain more about that, but then for me, it was just always a way to, I think, paint and art was just a way to express myself, because I'm not actually a very good talker. I'm not very good at sort of expressing what I like or how I feel, So then writing, I'm terrible too. I'm dyslexic. I'm actually phonic dyslexic. So like when I hear music, I find it very hard to differentiate the instruments and things. But then drawing was always a way for me to sort of, like let go and also be accepted, kind of thing, So, and then I continued doing it. It was always very inspiring. I was always found that like really interesting to improve and how realistic can I make it look, and the different mediums and playing with the different textures and arriving at different effects, and that's basically what's developed into my style. A lot of people say, oh yeah, it's portraits, but it's recognizable because I use spray paint, acrylic, watercolor, and then the inspiration comes from everyday sort of society and things that's going on. And I've always painted commission based, so I've always just painted things that I thought would look cool at the moment, and for the first time now, which wasn't easy, I came up with this composition of this equation of 10 paintings that are all black and white, that all have a story between one another and all relative, So when you work with the subject like a portrait or things like that, it isn't so easy to actually come up with a story with all these individuals who have the same interests, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's what really inspired. So it took me about 6 months to I was like, okay, I want to do something for Willie because, he's just a complete outlaw legend. He got his house and all his estates, everything taken away from him because the federal fucking government thought, they said, oh yeah, well, you bought all these goods because you're selling marijuana, even though he's like the most famous country singer in the world. So he was like, okay, well, fuck it. And then went to live on a bus, and he toured America. He's 90 years old now, 92, I think. And he's still rocking, and he still smokes weed every day and all this. So I was like, what better person could I make a homage to? And that's when I started digging more into his story, and then I found out about all these other characters, and then this whole idea of outlaw, and how can I make my work seem more mature, would be mature, and I was like, okay, I'll just do it all black and white. And then the whole black and white idea of outlaws came in, and then that's where I selected all these characters that had lived, more of an outlawish kind of life compared to other musicians that to perform with, and then finding all the photos that I think would look cool to paint. There's so many photos out there and things, and that's not always something easy to come by too. So that whole composition of these 10 paintings that I've done is a first. and I'm proud of that. I've done it because it was something that I wanted to get done, and now I'm ready to have a solo exhibition, which I've never actually done before.
I mean, it's what I was most impressed by is it doesn't look like, or maybe you do. Do you do like an outline, a pencil outline, and then start painting, or do you just go straight
Yeah,
at it?
no, yeah, of course. So I start off with, I use a marker. So I'll point in my lines, my points, and my references. And then, and then I just go in straight in with a brush, paintbrush, put in the first layers, dark layers. And then I slowly work it in with spray paint. I use water-based spray paint. So that's why it's more drippy, more spray, more squirty, let's just say, than traditional spray paint. And it's also less toxic, so I can bear with it. And then I come refine it again with paintbrush, and then I finish it off with a thinner marker or paintbrush too. Then I haven't really seen anybody paint like myself, and so I call it mixed media. And I have no other artists also that call their work mixed media, but I think they're more like about what they're painting, not how they paint. So I mix I mix my spray with my acrylic, with my marker, with with what's going on.
But when you're in the zone, do you get into the zone?
Yeah, totally. You get into like a state of flow. Yeah. Sometimes I can't, like, that's why, like, I don't normally paint at home, because if I'm in the studio, then I'm like, oh, I gotta get home, make some food, or I gotta go buy some groceries. But if I'm at home, I'm like, I'll paint till 3 a.m. in the morning. Like last time, I'll paint till 8 a.m. in the morning. I'm like, oh shit, there's something coming up.
Really? You just can't stop?
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, it's not I can't stop. It's just I just want to get it done. But then I have this, because I don't know if it's because I'm a Virgo, but I have this thing of wanting to perfect and wanting to, and that's one of the hardest things, I think, for an artist, is like when to stop, Because a lot of people like come in and they'll see my painting that I've worked on, and it's just the first layer, like, oh great, is that done? And I'm like, no, still got 2 weeks to go, Yeah.
Because when I came here last week, was it last week?
I think so, yeah.
Or last week before? Last week. You got these 2 paintings behind you, and it's quite funny right now in the camera. Your picture, you got the artichoke just popping out the side of the frame.
It's the
emoji,
eggplant,
folks.
Eggplant.
It's an eggplant emoji. If you just swivel your camera a little bit towards it.
It's funny because it is the feature that everyone just like, it stands out, and they're like, what is that a dick? And I'm like, no, it's a strap on.
He's a centaur.
It's a strap on. So
a centaur fart and fire.
What?
Is that Lucky Luke?
Yeah, he's got 3 heads on him. So
yeah, a raven. Or no, is that an eagle?
So yeah, he's the eagle, his golden eagle on his head. So I explained. So
okay, yeah, you talk through it right while we're on.
Man's a machine of labor. So he's got the hammer up here, which the hammer up there, which represents construction, and then he's got the spear over there, which represents destruction. And a man is expected to be a shark in business, a bull in sports, an eagle. So he's got eagle legs and social circumstances, and a scorpion at decision making, right? And then he's got this huge strap on emoji, and I refer to, I use the eggplant because it's provocative, and girls and people always refer to the penis being the eggplant, but really it's a strap-on emoji. So today we express a lot of our emotions through emojis on the internet and things. And so he's got a strap-on emoji, which is basically the symbol of men's insecurities, and he's chained up by this reptilian guy down here. So one thing that man isn't expected to be is cold-blooded. So that's why he's all the all the other insects and beasts and things in one, but he's not reptilian, so he's not cold-blooded. And then,
but he's still chained to the reptilian mind.
yeah, so he's chained by so the reptilian has got him by the reptilian has got him by, so the reptilian is down here.
Yeah,
it's
the little green man.
The little green man in his suit. So we have all this, the conspiracy theories of the reptilians and the whites and the longs and all these these different alien creatures. The
tall whites, the Nordics, the Greys, reptilians, Pleiadians.
Yeah, now,
who else we got?
Now we've got the LGBTQ people, which we're not too sure about also, but let's not go into that because we might get banned. But
do you want to put your?
So it's the reptilians that has the men by their insecurities. So they'll use their, however reptilians know how to.
Well, that's the primal brain. It's your primitive brain, which is concerned solely with survival.
Yeah,
that's your. I forget which part of the brain it is, but it's the.
Yeah, and then so here we got this. We'll go back here a bit more, and then here we've got the tiger. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this is the man, and then here we got the woman.
Yeah, hang on, because I'll come and take it.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Well, maybe trying to reconnect, make sure.
Oh, it's okay.
Right. And sorry about that. And then I think maybe we'll put a picture in the end of the description or something, because it's hard to get it all into the camera.
I'll tell you what we can do is after, or I can come back tomorrow when we've got a bit more time, and we can do a little talk through on a video.
I'd be happy to explain it.
Do a little video.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the flying saucer carrying a whale?
That's the unknown of man, and is it alien or is it man, and at what level of technology do we actually have, or do we disclose, and and the fact that we have so much power to pick up the biggest mammal on Earth is quite something, but still we don't know if these things are, if it's human technology or if it's alien technology.
If you were to guess, what do you think it is?
I definitely think it's alien technology, but I think there's things that haven't been disclosed to the public, and maybe things that man himself can't quite explain, so doesn't want to release it, because like anything, you want to understand before you can drive the thing, I guess.
I reckon they're humans from the future. I've gone back and forth in this for so long.
Yeah.
Are the aliens, are the humans from the future? And I'm currently in the camp of they're humans from the future.
Yeah,
but you don't have to agree with me.
Yeah, that's when, because we think of time travel and things, and then now we've just realized that actually, well, some people say that Einstein was wrong. So time is always present. There's no past, there's no future. It's always now. And future is something that you make up, and past is something that you can talk about, but it's not like you can go back to the past, and it's not like you can go to the future. And I believe in the fact that there's different barriers of when we talk about friction and speed and things. And I think there's certain things that we can't even conceive, and that's where these creatures do conceive those other variables and are able to travel a lot faster, or understand physics in a different way that we do. But I think we've been held back with certain physics that we think is real. But now with AI and stuff, they're sort of starting to figure out, to crack these things. And
what do you think to this? Is that once there's it's called morphic resonance, and I can't remember the name of the scientist's name, English guy. But basically, if you break a 4-minute mile in one part of the world, in the next year 10 people break the 4-minute mile. It's just a case of a perception that something can't be done, and once that perception's been broken.
Yeah.
That limitation's been broken. And as you mentioned, just an interesting thing to discuss is we should have had some of your weed. You get really into this.
We'll
get
have
really
that
into
for the next podcast.
stoner talk. Yeah. No, to talk about
The next
what
one
you-
will be uncensored.
okay. Uncensored. Well, it's not censored so far. But the point being is that we using our physics model right now, which physicists tell us this is not going to change. Now, is there a different perception of physics? Is there a different type of physics that we just don't know yet? We haven't discovered yet. Which once that limitation of physics, the current physics we have, has been expanded or broadened or even flipped on its head, and there's something completely new, then suddenly advanced technology, being able to go from here across the galaxy in the blink of an eye, it becomes a possibility. Not just a possibility, it becomes a real thing.
Totally.
That's the way I see it. Now, we are not at the point right now of our evolution on this planet to be able to do these things. I mean, we're very good at certain things, but the fact is we're still using cars.
Example is Elon Musk, because he took a rocket and completely broke down the whole fundamentals of what NASA and everyone else was using, and is now able to do things that have never been able to done before.
It's probably because it's private.
I think no, he's changed like the whole for example, the plates that are put on the ships for the entrance of cooling, like the special ceramics, and that's sort of like, you using ceramics? What are you, crazy? And then what happens is that because they create condensation, so they sweat because they can transpire, and then that was able, because of the water that comes out on those, now able to keep his rockets cool as they come back into our stratosphere. And then and that
I did not know that.
So there's lots of things that he basically changed and broke down and was like, okay, now there's a new solution. And I think that's what we need to do with physics in general. So Einstein is a genius, and there's nothing wrong with it, but you can't keep basing things off old theories and starting from their equation. You need to start over again and maybe find another direction, because we have been stuck, and I think maybe that's something that's on purpose too, because we end up start traveling ourselves, and maybe they just want us to stay here. And that's the other thing I've heard about, is like the Greys and the Long, these people that they're actually, their stars aren't so far from one another, but our galaxy is light years away.
Yeah,
and that's why that a few of them come, and then that's it. It's just like a little stop off over here.
Yeah, it's a stage and post.
Yeah,
it's a motel.
Yeah,
I've listened to some really fascinating podcasts with people who are revealing this information now. And I'm not talking about the people who everyone's heard of, the ones who've been talking about for decades. I'm talking about people I'd never even heard of, and I've gone pretty deep into this whole thing. I find it very fascinating.
I love it.
I mean, everyone who doesn't, right? Well, actually, it turns out a lot of people don't. So we'll find out when we do this.
Yeah.
but the point being is that once you've heard testimony, and actually, there's a guy I was listening to in the car up, Malmgren. Oh, I'll tell you in a second. And this guy went to MIT when he was 14, and he's a son of a Swedish immigrant. Malmgren is his name. I'm trying to remember the first name. And he was, sent to work when he was 7 years old because his dad was restored paintings.
Right.
And he was very bright, and he was chatting to this guy because they used to go to rich people's houses. And anyways, they do the restoration work. And he was doing that. And the owner of the house came and spoke to him and said, and they had a chat, and then he said to his dad, I would like to offer your son a full scholarship. And then I'll send you the link to this one. It's a cracker.
Yeah.
And he was, he was one of the guys that stopped the world going nuclear during the Cuban Missile Crisis. He was a 27-year-old telling senior generals to, let's calm things down, because they were about to launch nukes, nuclear bombs, right? Which would have been catastrophic. And this guy's talking, and I haven't got to the proper part when he starts talking about it, but he starts talking in depth about UFO contacts and stuff. And this guy, as it happens, he died just a few months after this podcast. It's on American Alchemy.
Oh, wow.
In fact, let me just grab my phone. So I don't know, you respond to that. Let me grab my phone and tell you the guy's name.
It's astonishing. That's what they've said also. It's like every time there has been a push of the button, something out of this world has interfered and not enabled it to happen. And yeah, that's fascinating. And to go back to like the perception of things and physics and stuff, also, it's the perception of time and our how long we live. These beings live a lot longer, as I understand. Like what's our lifetime is, their first year of school or something.
They live much longer than us. Yeah. Harold Malmgren's his name. I was saying the podcast is called American Alchemy. It's so good.
Yeah,
he's so good. The guy's really smart. And from the 23rd April, it didn't actually show the episode number on my screen there. Mate, we could go really long into this stuff, and let's do it again.
Yeah, let's do it again, for sure.
Because I love talking about it. We can go. You can be I've been looking for a conspiracy theory partner for my podcast to do the conspiracy ones. Well, ever since Chris went away.
So we got to start talking about 3i Atlas. So I don't know if anyone's heard of that, but it's coming.
3i Atlas is going to destroy us all.
Coming.
It's disappeared behind the sun, and we won't be able to see it again.
It's for a month now or something. Yeah.
Is it?
It's behind.
Yeah, it's a good few weeks. Yeah. And now and then it's going to pop out behind the sun. It's going to come straight at us, people. Is it a psyop? Is it real?
I think it's just folding itself up. But what do I know, man?
I know.
I'm an astrophysicist. I mean,
it's fun. But...
I was an astronaut, but yeah.
A psychonaut. I was a psychonaut.
Attitude astronaut. Disney go.
All right. So one more time, where is it? It's Flynn Paints, FLYNNPAINTS on Instagram.
Yeah.
Great pleasure to speak to you, pal.
That was awesome.
And I think we'll do this again.
For sure.
We should, for crack.
Yeah.
We'll come back here late at night one time.
Yeah.
The moon's up.
Late night podcast.
All right, bud.
Cheers,
Mr. Kindness Pod. Yeah, sorry, Mr. Kindness _pod on Instagram, Mr. Kindness on X, Mr. Kindness on YouTube, and that's MISTER Kindness. That is my name, by the way.
All right.
My surname.
Really? I thought it was your podcasting.
I only found out your surname today, and you just found out mine. That was genuinely my name.
Oh, sweet.
All right, bud. Cheers. Great pleasure, and let's do this very, very soon.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Sure. All right. Take care. Bye. Okay.